Hi, this is Eric Kirkpatrick again, and today I'm going to talk about something that has to do with your workers' compensation case that 99% of the people run into. This is called an IME, otherwise known as an independent medical examination. First, let me explain to you what this is. It's not really an independent medical examination because this is an examination set up for you by the insurance company or your employer. This means essentially it is their doctor. And what does that mean? That means it is not an independent doctor who's examining you. And you always have to remember that this doctor is not there for treatment. He's just there to examine you. And 9 times out of 10, he's there to give the employer and insurance company the opinion that they want. And the opinion that they want is that you weren't hurt at work, that your condition was a terrible degenerative condition, that you were going to be in the same condition now with or without the accident, or that you're able to return to work full duty. Generally, these are set up at a time when the insurance company is tired of paying either medical bills or your temporary total disability benefits. With that said, what these examinations are is essentially an examination that the Workers' Compensation Act allows the employer to have. These are what I call Section 12 exams because that's the section of the Illinois Workers' Compensation Act that they arise from. So today what I thought I would do is explain to you how I tell my clients to handle these medical examinations when the insurance company sends them to one. I should tell you first of all that if you're represented by another lawyer, you need to address this issue with that lawyer because sometimes we have differing opinions on how we want our clients to do things. So the first thing that I tell my clients is, number one, be honest. Be honest with this doctor. Don't go in and tell the doctor that you haven't had any symptoms in your low back or your shoulder or whatever it may be, and that you haven't had any treatment on that particular part of your body if you have. Because if you have had prior treatment, I almost guarantee you that the insurance company already knows and has already discovered those medical records and already sent them to their examining doctor. He will be prepared to ask you questions to trap you. So, best approach, in my opinion, is to be honest. If you've had prior symptoms, tell him about those prior symptoms. The last thing you want is for an arbitrator to look at a report from one of these doctors who has caught you lying, because your honesty in a workers' compensation case, if it has to go to arbitration, goes a long way. The next thing that I tell my folks is don't feel like you have to exaggerate your symptoms. I have had people take canes to the examining doctor, walk in with their cane, and then after the exam, they are caught by the doctor walking out through the parking lot without the cane. You don't need to do that. The last thing you want to do is exaggerate, like I say, because the doctors will catch you. These examining doctors are trained doctors to identify your complaints and whether they are consistent with the diagnosis you've previously been given or what might be on an MRI or CT scan. And the thing about this is certain injuries and conditions will cause certain symptoms. That's the point. The doctors know this. Don't go into the doctor complaining that you can't walk, you can't sit, and let the doctor then see that while you've said you can't sit for 10 minutes, you've sat in his office for 30 minutes. Don't exaggerate your complaints. Another thing that I've started telling my clients is act interested in the doctor. If he's got some treatment options for you, I tell them to sit there and listen. And then at the end, just politely tell them that they'll take the considerations of that doctor onto their treating doctor and see what he wants to do. The reason for that is I find that some of these doctors like the idea of having the opportunity to actually fix people instead of just doing exams. That's true probably not all the time, but probably 50% of the time, depending on what doctor you've been to. The next thing is, many of my clients are very likable people. I don't want that likable person to go in and be a jerk just because they think the insurance company's doctor is there to take advantage of them. Be the likable you. Be you. Don't come across like you're a jerk, because then the doctor is going to be a jerk to you. With that said, a lot of these examining doctors are rude. They're very short. They're very brief. And you'll get the impression that they don't care about you. That's fine. They're not supposed to. Again, they're hired by the insurance company. Another thing, the doctor is going to ask you a lot of questions. The doctor or his nurse, typically. This is the basic rule. If I ask, change that. This is the basic rule. If you're asked what time it is, don't tell the doctor how to build a clock. You tell him what time it is, and that's it. If he's asking about symptoms you have in your right leg, don't worry about expanding on that and telling him what symptoms you have in your left shoulder. Answer his question, be thorough, exact, and to the point. Don't tell them anything else. Again, what you need to remember about these exams is that they are generally only for the insurance company. If you're not represented, don't be fooled into thinking that the insurance company cares about you and that's why they're sending you to a doctor. Sometimes that's the case, but it's probably about 3% of the time, if that. Most of the time they want to get a doctor's opinion and shut your case down. That's generally the intent of these Section 12 exams. But again, you'll hear the term independent medical exam. Don't think that is independent, because it's not. If you're represented on a case where you've been sent to the doctor, your lawyer will already tell you that this isn't the end of the road. If the examining doctor comes back and says that you're not entitled to temporary total disability benefits anymore, or you can go back to work full duty, or your problem isn't causally related to your accident, your lawyer will know and explain to you that the option is that you go to arbitration, and the arbitrator will then decide between their doctor's opinion and your doctor's opinion on whether or not you're entitled to the continued benefits. With that said, and this is directly directed to people who are not represented, know your rights. If that doctor says that you are not temporarily and totally disabled anymore, or your condition is not related to your work and you believe that it is, there is an arbitrator out there that ultimately makes those decisions. You need to be aware of that and not just take the Section 12 examiner's opinion as the gospel truth. You have rights, and at that point, if you're not represented and get your benefits terminated, then I suggest you contact a lawyer. Thank you.